82 of Only Good News. I was born in 1982. That was 39 years, 357 days ago. I don't know. My math is wrong. My math is off. But yeah, welcome to Only Good News, episode 82. Just quick heads up. I don't have any guests tonight. Well, my daughter is in the background, so if you ever hear anybody belting out, "Dad!" or whatever, that's what's happening. She wanted to come with me, make sure I didn't feel all by myself. So yeah, today's gonna be a little bit different. If you guys saw the promo poster on Facebook, it was me saying that I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an insight into the way I think. I'm seeing the numbers creeping up on the live, and thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys supporting me, and today's going to be a different show where I'm going to uncover the why behind some of the things I would have put on social media, some of my sayings, some of my truths, and whatnot. But before we get to that segment, let's just talk about some of the good things that have been happening around here and around the world. And the first thing I want to talk about is the 2001 to 2022 Creative Youth Competition. They finally announced the winners, and I'm happy that people won, but I'm not happy that nobody from St. Kitts won. However, they did recognize the top performers from each region, and basically they had to write a poem on any one of these topics in a creative way. The entrepreneur, or skills equals money, or my vision for my Caribbean home. And a 14-year-old, Zahara Creaky, was the best in country for St. Kitts and Nevis, and she wrote a piece titled "The Entrepreneur," which was pretty unique. It had dialect in it, and to be honest, I think that would have set her apart from everybody else, because she was able to dive into the colloquialisms. And I mean, the article that I read did say that she was her mom helped her. Her mom is a former journalist. I think she's still a journalist and a writer and a former model. And so she said the poem was inspired by the Jamaican dub poet Jean Binta Breeze, for the way she easily told stories from a woman's point of view. And yeah, check out, I think it's Times Caribbean, or I can't remember where I saw it. Think it's Nevis. I can't remember. But yeah, definitely, or just Google or go on Facebook and put Zahara, and you would see the piece there, the poem, or go on the ECCB website, and I think you might see that there. Can't remember. But that was good. I'm happy for young people having reasons to feel happy, to do things that are actually of good report. And this is the beginning of good things. There are more to come, and there are many of these that do see happening. Actually, my daughter has a competition coming up towards the end of this month, which she's going to enter, where you have to come up with a creative way to visually represent her school, and the winner will get to be featured on the cover of the school book or school yearbook or something like that. So we're going to have a field day with that. But yeah, good things are happening. Last week was epic. We had the deputy, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying the deputy, the former deputy prime minister, but at least I can say that I had a deputy prime minister in the studio. And it was really refreshing to see him not dive into politics, and he appreciated this tremendously. Do you know that he wants to learn? Well, he wish he could play the violin. Like, who would have thought? He said he loves the violin. It's very soothing. I got him to laugh. I got him to give stories about where he was when he was in college, when he was a little boy, and it was just a refreshing way to show the world that he's more than a politician. And speaking about that, I did have someone, one of the members of one of the parties. I'm not going to call out anybody's name. Talk to me today, and trying to get me to see their point of view. And this you call this canvassing? Yes. And one of the things that I always say is if you can't acknowledge the good that has happened, then you've lost me at hello. If you can't acknowledge the good and talk about how you can improve on it, then you've lost me. Because nobody ever goes into a campaign cycle deciding they're going to mash up the place and mash up the country. And so I'm glad for these politicians going outside of their comfort zone to come on my show. And I can't wait to have some more. I'm working on a big one for next week. We'll see if that happens. But kudos to the former Deputy Prime Minister, who on my show, I kind of prodded him a bit, and he kind of feels he's going to be the Prime Minister in a few weeks, or a few months, sometime this year. So we'll see what happens if the math adds up. Math and English and chemistry and biology and the whole works. All right, next big story, next feel-good story is about if you like eating tacos, I have a job for you. Well, there was a job for you. This food company will pay you $10,000 to be its chief taco officer. Chief taco officer. And what does that mean? It means that interested eaters can create a video application and submit a short form on Favor's website. Okay, hold on. A Favor, a Texas-based company, food delivery company, is looking for a voracious eater to sample tacos all over their state as their first ever chief taco officer. The lucky employee will receive $10,000 in exchange for taste testing tacos and documenting the experience on social media during June and July, according to the job listing. The chief taco officer will drive across Texas, staying in each city for 2 days, eating tacos delivered by Favor for at least 2 meals, so you can have tacos for breakfast and dinner. The winning candidate will receive free food, accommodation, and transportation along their journey, and free delivery from the company for a year. Persons can create a video application and submit a short form on Favor's website before the 12th of May. That's today? So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, that made me laugh and feel good. Now, other feel good story I talked about last week was Airbnb says staffers can work remotely forever if they want. I was speaking to somebody who returned to brick and mortar today after having worked remotely for almost 2 years, and she was like, I don't see why I have to go back. I was getting the same work done when I was home, and I hope we can have more progressive companies saying the same thing. I think Airbnb is doing this. It's saying they would not require most staffers to return to office ever. The company told employees Thursday that they can permanently work remotely and can relocate anywhere within the country that they currently work. Doing so would not negatively impact compensation, the company says, meaning it would not adjust salaries downwards if an employee opts to move to a city where the cost of living is lower. In a lengthy email to staffers on Thursday, the CEO and co-founder Brian Chesky outlined its new policies and expectations. He noted the permanent flexibility will allow the company to hire and retain the best people in the world rather than simply those who are within commuting radius around the offices. Yes, Airbnb has about 6,000 employees globally, with more than 3,000 in the United States. And yeah, again, are we missing? Are we missing the train with this progressive way of doing things? My daughter said yes. All right, this one here, I read this week. Have you ever sat next to somebody who's annoying on a plane and next thing you fall in love with them? Well, apparently this happened. The first time Christina Burton met Gabriel Sonberg, she rolled her eyes. Sounds similar to some stories from my past. I'll share one of them shortly. Burton, a then 30-year-old dancer living and working in LA, was waiting at JFK to fly home following an audition in New York. It was early in the morning. The terminal was mostly empty, so she had rows of seats to herself. When a man plunkered his bag on the floor and sat next to her, she was irritated. This was Solberg, then 34, on his way back from visiting his family in Europe. Bleary-eyed from the airport layover, he was paying little attention to his surroundings. She says, "This guy doesn't have spatial awareness," she recalls thinking. Two strangers were sitting so close that Burton could see the seat number printed on his ticket, and she realized that he had the plane seat next to her. She internally groaned. She was not in the mood to spend 6 hours next to someone who did not understand the concept of personal space. Um, so, let's get. So I knew that since we're sitting next to each other, we must be in the same boarding group. But he's escaped and he boarded the flight in a random group. And basically, let's talk about what happened. The captain announced over the speaker that the plane was delayed and would not depart for another couple of hours. So Burton and Solberg were in the middle seat in the aisle, and the passenger by the window fell asleep almost instantaneously. So it soon felt like they had the road to themselves. And basically they started talking, from segueing into small topics, into bigger topics, talked about everything. And by the time the flight took off, they felt like they'd known each other for years. I have that feeling before. They watched a couple of movies together, but chatted and laughed the entire way. I told her how terrible her movie choices were, says Solberg. We tried to watch Planet of the Apes, which I think was a good movie, but he was like, that's the stupidest movie I've ever seen. Anyway, Burton was charmed by Solberg's directness and sense of humor. Guys, if you can make a woman laugh, that is one big step in the having an advantage over everybody else. It hasn't worked for me yet. Anyway, it was obvious he was kind underneath the jokes. And so over the 6-hour flight, there was room for more serious conversation. And they basically spoke about spirituality and religion and their outlooks on life. And it was it was a really organic conversation. And so when the flight landed, their neighbor, the guy sitting next to them, woke up to a surprise. Clearly, when they all boarded, nobody knew each other. And this guy fell asleep. And at the end of this flight, he's like, what? What's going on here? Basically, yeah, they fell in love. They got married. And yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole story. But that has never. Every time I travel, I always wonder: am I going to sit next to a beautiful woman and end up in a conversation? And sometimes, no. Most times, no. So these things do happen. So next one here. Oh my gosh! I've always wondered. You see in the movies, the plane's about to crash, and it says, "Can anybody land this plane?" And it says, I'm a pilot. I've played Flight Simulator. Well, this passenger with no flying experience landed a plane like a pro. Whether you've seen it in an airplane or tested a Mythbusters, it is possible for a passenger with no flying experience to land an airplane if there's a calm voice on the radio telling them how. This is what happened recently aboard a single-engine plane when the incapacitation of the pilot left the passenger at the wheel, radioing down to sea level. Darren Harrison admitted, I have no idea how to fly a plane. Air traffic controller Robert Morgan, a certified flight instructor with over 1,200 hours of flying time, was having a lunch break near his control tower when he got a disturbing call about a plane that needed help as it was flying from the Bahamas. I rushed over there, and as I walked in, the room was really busy, and they were like, hey, this pilot is incapacitated. The passengers are flying the plane and they have no flying experience. And so, 3 Lima Delta, what's your position? Morgan raged in. I have no idea. I see the coast of Florida ahead of me and I have no idea, Harrison responded. Try to hold the wings level and see if you can start descending for me. Push forward on the controls and descend at a very slow rate, Morgan advised. Having never flown this particular Cessna, he pulled a photograph of the control panel to improve his explanations. So between the radio calls and with the plane, Morgan organized air traffic at the beach, at Palm Beach, the biggest runway area, where he knew he could give Harrison the largest target to aim at. So he talked Harrison down step by step. The plane landed safely with much of the traffic beach at Palm Beach listening. You just witnessed a couple of passengers land that plane, and Palm Beach controller told a waiting pilot. Did you say passengers landed the airplane? Oh my God! Great job, he said. And so afterwards, Morgan got to meet his new student, whom he gave a 10 out of 10 for landing during the emotional exchange. And Morgan said Harrison was a real hero of the day, having the courage to take over the situation. Harrison was just happy to be down and able to get back to his wife, who is currently pregnant. Yeah, I've always said that one of the things on my bucket list is to learn how to fly. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Ooh, this story here reminds me of me. Tell you why. The year was 2002, 2003. I was introduced to a particular young lady. My brother decided that this person was the one for me. And I was like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "You know what I saw?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, she is." Then we started having conversations. And trust me, she was not having any of this. Okay? She was not having any of it. And she was just like, "No, no, no." We would have conversations, long conversations, but they would never progress beyond that. And I was like, "What am I supposed to do to make her feel like liking me also?" And she was very pedantic, polite, but just never fell. And just before I gave up hope, her birthday was coming up, August 29. I said, "You know what?" Then I was, close. I was not living here, but I was here on vacation from school in Chicago. And I was like, "Hey, Dermy." Dermy was my friend. He worked at DHL. I said, I want to give her something for her birthday. So I went to Ashbury's, bought perfume, and gave him in a DHL box and addressed it as though it was a package to be delivered to her from overseas. And lo and behold, that did it. He delivered it. She was surprised. She called. "Oh my gosh, it was so sweet." She said it reminded her of something her father would do. And that's what did it. Right? And, I'm not going to go into the story about how we fell in love and then, fell out. Anyway, this one is similar. A teen drives across the country to surprise his best friend since childhood dressed as a FedEx delivery man. A thoughtful teen traveled across America. Okay, so his name is Sultana, and Sultana and Jory became best friends growing up as neighbors. And basically, despite the distance between them, they lived like across the country. They would make an annual visit back to see themselves, but this year, because of COVID, it wasn't possible. So, knowing how sad this made his best friend feel, family started working on a plan to pay a surprise visit in South Carolina. And so Jory's mom, Lynn, purchased a delivery man outfit from Amazon. And Sultana was told that her Greek grandmother had mailed her a package and that she would like a video of her opening it. So as Jory and Lynn drove to South Carolina, where they were frequently texting Sultana's dad, John, with updates. Ahead of the visit, all family members also tested for COVID-19 so that they knew they were not spreading the virus. Then it was time for the grandma's package to arrive. They started filming Sultana as she went to collect it. So initially, Sultana accepted the package without realizing what was happening. But then as Jory removed his mask, a moment of realization struck, and Sultana darted to hug her best pal, and her knees gave away in shock just as she was about to do so. Speaking of the moment, John said, "I was near to tears watching the strength leave Sultana's legs as Jory removed his mask. It couldn't have been more perfect." Friends and family and complete strangers have all commented on the positive emotions these two young adults exhibit. True friendship. Making this happen wasn't easy. Work schedules, travel, testing during the pandemic to ensure that they were responsible, and a ton of moving pieces. But the 48 seconds represented by this video were more than worth the effort. These kids will remember that minute all of their lives. I love it. And let's see. One more story. A man surprises his stepchildren with an adoption request at his wedding. An emotional groom picked up not only a wife on his wedding day, but also two new daughters as he surprised him with an adoption request at the altar. Through floods of happy tears, stepfather Dantes Williams, 33 from Detroit, Michigan, asked if he could make his stepdaughters Abigail, 9, and Natalie, 8, officially his own. You see, Dantes came up with the idea for the surprise, which took place on the 13th of August at the San Marino Club in Torrey, Michigan, early this year when speaking with his now wife, Michelle Burton, 26. The pair were discussing how Dantes might adopt the girls who have been in his life since they were the ages 1 and 2. And Dantes said he'd seen a number of videos on social media where families had dropped adoption request surprises. So thinking that his stepdaughters were still children and not adults, he decided he should propose to them instead. And what better place to do this than at his own wedding? And so after saying his vows to his wife, he came forward with his additional request. And watching the girls get emotional made him well up too, he says. And his bond has grown with the pair down the years, and he sees them as daddy's girls, and he says yes to more requests than mom. As he says more, yeah, yeah. Actually, my little one hears no more often than she does from my counterpart. Anyway, in the days after the wedding, he shared a video of the proposal on Instagram, which received an outpouring of well wishes. And he says, when I saw the reaction, I wasn't surprised because I knew if it was bringing emotion out of me, it was going to bring emotion out of them, especially Abigail, who's the more emotional one. All right. There's more stories, but I think I'm going to stop here and we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to get into my truths, the stories behind some of the things that I would say, social media and around the way. All right, we're right back.
Experience the value. Get the cable's value bundle today. Internet, Ultra TV, free HBO Max, and a free Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard for only $157 monthly. Feel the thrill of 74 channels of Ultra TV. Feel the rush of the cable's 35 megabyte Bolt Internet. Maximum streaming entertainment is free with HBO Max and the ultra convenience of the Platinum Loyalty MasterCard. Shop, save, share, and don't forget, get a free internet upgrade when you pay your cable bills with Platinum Loyalty MasterCard. Not a cable customer? Sign up today and get more out of your internet, TV, shopping, and payment experience. The cable's value bundle, Ultra TV, internet, free HBO Max, and Platinum Loyalty MasterCard at $250 value for only $157 per month. Call the cable 465-2588 and come experience the value.
All right, we're back. My daughter, before we get into my piece of tonight, she says she wants to say hi to everybody. So go ahead, sweetie.
Hello, everybody. I love you so much. If you're sick, I hope you're okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to say? What's the best thing that happened to you this week?
I had to go on the train. It was amazing.
You didn't go on the train this week.
I don't know what I did this week. I can't remember.
This was Spirit Week, remember?
I would love it. It was so. I loved when school. I love when school tried when I was dressing up. I was like, whoa, that was so cool on.
And you were an artist, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you. Bye. Go draw. So, after that little break, let's get cracking. My truths. I'm about to get vulnerable, guys. I've got to get vulnerable. Where's my Adobe? It's my Adobe. All right. So, I'm going to read some of my quotes that I've come up with. They're not copied. They're not copied and pasted from any website. I just come up with these things, and I may be going through something at that particular point in time, and I just see it fit to either subliminally send a message, we all do this, or just help someone else. So, all right, first one says, instead of saying I wish you all the best, let's normalize phrases such as, hey, what do you really need? Or, really? Tell me what I can do to help with where you are right now. Or, it's okay. I think I know why you declined my help. I'll still check in with you next week just to make sure you're okay. Sense a need, feel a need, and if you can help, then go beyond the words. That's coming from a place where there's certain people who may ask you, how are you doing? And I may respond and say, I'm not doing too good, or I may be low or sick or whatever it is, and the next thing that comes is, oh, sorry to hear, feel better soon. And then there's certain people who, when they sense instantly things are off, is like, okay, what do you need? All right, I'm sending something by you. Don't let me have to come by your house. So what I'm saying is that when you ask, how are you, be intentional to want to actually help someone. If they respond in ways that are indicative of them needing something or not being where they need to be, always start by asking, do you need, or how can I help? Tell me what I can do to make it better. Sometimes it can be just staying quiet, or giving space, or being present, or a surprise. So, when you ask, how are you doing? With certain people, if you love them, if you're close to them, be prepared to do something about it if they respond in ways that suggest that they need help, and not the colloquial, feel better soon, sorry to hear, or toughen up, or. All right, next one. This is really cool, really cute. This whole thing is called Let Go and Let Good. It's a parody on the phrase let go and let God. And I wrote it in a pretty font, and then I put in small fonts, in a small long sentence, all jumbled up together. It says, let good happen even if you don't feel as though you should let good happen, because when good happens to people, the world becomes that much of a better place. And that's because I'm teaching my daughter this. Like, if someone is a particular way to you, you don't have to respond in the same way that the same energy that they are throwing at you. You can rise above what's happening to you and still maintain your own standard for how you treat people. So if you're somebody who treats them with respect, with dignity, even if and when you're setting boundaries, you're doing that. You can still do good. I mean, the Bible does say, be kind to your enemies, and all of these things. So you can let go and let good, while at the same time creating boundaries that are required after you feel wronged or hurt by somebody. So yeah, let go and let good. And like I said, that happened to me. I think I was getting some kind of flack for something that I was doing. I was like, you know what? It's good to be good. What's the wrong with being good to people? That's just who I am. All right, next one. I put up on a phone chat bubble. It's reflecting conversation between two persons, a man and a woman, one saying, but I'm not perfect. And then the other one says, it's okay, babe. I never asked for perfection. To be honest, your genuine desire to work this together is all I need. Desire trumps perfection in my books. The phrase I'm not perfect normally comes from a place where you are trying to cop out, when no one has asked you for perfection. I've never asked for perfection. And, the women who have felt that way have read me blatantly wrong. It's not ever been that way. It's a desire. It's a desire to want to learn about what needs to be done, what we need to work on. And once you have that desire, like if you have a desire to eat pizza, I don't have to tell you to go eat pizza. It's going to happen. And if I bring it for you, you're going to celebrate the fact that I brought it for you. So once you have a genuine desire to do something, if I introduce you to that thing or ways you can get that thing, you should jump at it. And that's the secret. Having desire, not perfection. All right, next one. This one was, pretty nifty. People who do what they are expected or supposed to do are no less deserving of affirmation, validation, and appreciation. Because when they feel affirmed, validated, and appreciated, they end up doing more than what is expected. This came from a place where, at the time, I was feeling, I think somebody used a phrase, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Do you want a medal? I'm like, I'm not asking for a medal. If I'm doing what I'm expected to do, then because if I wasn't doing it, it would have been a big deal. So the mere fact that I'm actually doing what I'm expected to do, I don't need to be invalidated. But at the same time, that people who are so for instance, someone today was like, look, the government, all they've done is build roads and do this and do that. I'm like, why are you diminishing the value that they've brought? If they've done what they're supposed to do, that is something good, because if they weren't doing that, you'll be saying that they haven't done it. And so people or persons or organizations who are doing what they're expected to do are deserving of affirmation for actually being able to do just that. And not to say you're going to give them a medal, but at the end of the day, you have persons, even businesses who, for instance, are not giving, time off for paternity leave or time off for longer time off for maternity leave or sick days. They have business who are doing these things, and they should be celebrated for doing just that. Right? All right. So next one. It says here, methinks motherhood makes mothers have superpowers. A chicken will always be afraid until it has a baby chicks of hers, after when she becomes a fearless hen. In other words, motherhood brings out in you that which you probably never thought you had in you. Don't wait for Mother's Day to affirm mothers. They deserve kind words all year round. And I came to this conclusion after seeing chickens in my yard that will always run away from me or from my dogs until they have chicks. And trust me, that little scamp of a pooch that we have, Cream, little like rude dog, love to torment these chickens. And trust me, she's had a few goings, a few run-ins with mother hens that have gone after her to the point where, okay, she goes after the hen and the mother's like, not today. And you just see them squabbling, and next thing, Cream is running in the other direction. And I said, you know what? I think the same thing can be applied to mothers. That I've heard from some before, like, I never knew I could be this way. I didn't think I could be this way as a mom. And I think that's what it does. Superpowers. Whatever it is, I think motherhood brings out the best, and that level of just like, how did they get that done? How did they have that level of intuition? How are they able to bear so much pain? How are they able to figure things out in the face of danger, in the face of adversity? There's something about it. There's something about it. All right, next one. This may sound a bit egotistical, but it's not coming from that place. It says, I'm a lovable person. This means that I am easy to love. So it's going to take a lot more than loving me to impress me. Start by understanding me. Understanding that love is and always should be a verb. Several times in my, 39 years, almost 40, I've had instances of, situations where I would hear, but I love you. And can't you see that I still love you? Can't you see that? And all of these. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a lovable person. Loving me can't be that thing that makes me say, wow, I am not short of love. So there has to be more than that. And some of us need to be able to see life in that way, where when a man says, okay, I love you, okay, if you're a woman of integrity, of value, you have your life sorted and so many things, loving you should be easy. And if it's easy, then what else? Does he understand you? Doesn't understand how to talk to you when you're low? Doesn't understand how to help you with a business idea, with a situation at work? All of these things will go a further way towards keeping that particular potential partner. All right. Next one. I wrote this one. It says, every year I keep saying, don't worry, next year I will. This year, though, I'm going to say this year I will, so that next year I'll be able to say last year I did. And trust me, I'm living this one, because definitely this year, not last year when I wrote that, I was having ideas and I'm executing on them. Some of them are going to be revealed very shortly. It's just a way of being present in the moment, as opposed to continually thinking that in time you're going to somehow achieve something. Now, you can start saying this year I will. Okay? All right, next one. This one says, there is always strength in numbers of people when they understand you well enough to know what to say and give you strength when you feel weak. Important. It goes back to the same paradigm of understanding people who are in your life, your friends, your family. And the more people who you have who are able to do that, there's strength in that. Can you imagine an entire community who just know exactly how to be there for you when you're low and when you need help? There's strength in numbers of people who when they understand exactly how to fill your need. And that's what the church is supposed to do. I'm not going to get into that. This is a show about good news. Next one. Learning one's love language is just as important as learning about one's weapons of love destruction. Very important. A lot of the times when we've learned how someone can love you, you need to know what they are capable of doing and what tools they are used to using to inflict hurt and pain. Are they shouters? Are they manipulators? Are they vindictive? Are they silent treatmenters? Are they whatever it is? You have to learn. And if it's not compatible with your spirit, with your ethos of who you are, then you are going to be hurt. Because just as it is important that somebody who speaks your love language exponentially resonates with you, somebody who uses your love destruction language exponentially has the power to pull you down and keep you down. So for me, when a woman decides she can shout and rant and let them think they can just chop me down quick. The shouting and the belittling and all of that, I've never been known to respond to that. You can just talk to me because I'm an intellectual person, so you can just sit down and reason with me. So that's one of my weapons of love destruction. So the shouting and raving, I can't do it. All right. This one is a segue to this one. It says you can be 100% your authentic self even if you have habits and tendencies that can hurt or upset your partner. You see, when you love someone, you fiercely protect them from harm and hurt, even if that includes protecting them from you. Okay, so yes, I've been involved with women who have some spice, which I like. The spice that spices the meal, not burns. Spices go. I like jerk chicken. I like a little bit of, spice, red Thai curry, just a little bit of spice. I don't want to be burnt. But sometimes, when that spice gets too much and I'm speaking out about it, saying, I don't need this. It's like, oh, you trying, this is who I am. You have to take me for, I said, no. You can be who you are. But if being this person is going to hurt me, then that side, continue being that, because when the airline loses my bag or our baggage, I need somebody to go and cuss them because I'm not that kind of person. Go on and instill the fear of the Lord in them with that side of you. You don't need to do that on me. So you can be who you are. And when you love someone, you will protect them from harm and hurt. Even that includes protecting them from yourself. So for instance, the analogy is people who are like in gangs or even assassins, they are people who kill. But because they love their partners, the persons who are in their lives, they will protect them with those things, those same things that they use to inflict harm on other people. So, same analogy. So you can be yourself. Ooh. This one says, I am lonely. I wish you were here. I miss you. And it says, I'm having a good time. I wish you were here. I miss you. And it says, you can be missed selfishly or selflessly. Be with a person capable of missing you both ways. So this came from a part where I felt like I don't want to be missed just because you feel alone, you feel lonely. Because there are many times, the several times I've been able to travel, for instance, without my daughter, have been miserable for me because I'm there having a good time and I'm there wishing she was next to me. I'm there wishing that I can share those moments with her. And so it's the same thing. When you can be in a position where you're away from your partner and you're having a good time and you can literally just say, I miss you, I wish you were here, it would mean that much more than missing them when you're lonely, which is also good because it means that I want you to fill that void. I'm just saying both of them make for a very amazing combination and dynamic between two persons. Next one says, really smart people tend not to think that they are really that smart. And that's why they are really smart people. This is a no brainer. When you feel you need to learn more, then you will be in that pursuit of knowledge. When you feel you've arrived, then you stop learning, you stop growing. And life should be that lifelong learning process. And so when people who are smart, we're saying, oh my gosh, you're so smart. And they say, nah, I think I have some more to go. There are things that I don't understand, the things I want to work on. But that's why they're smart. And so if you're on that constant pursuit of acquiring knowledge and wisdom, doesn't matter how little you know, you will be smart. All right, next one. A lot of natural stuff can be harmful to you. Don't be easily swayed just because the label says all natural ingredients. This came from just reading the label and seeing all natural ingredients on something. I'm like, but poisons in nature, there are things that are poisonous in nature. They're harmful to you. So just because it says natural ingredients doesn't mean that it's good for you. So still be vigilant, open your eyes, and be open to the fact that just because it says natural ingredients doesn't mean that it's good for you, that it's going to be helpful for you. All right? Next one. You sleepy, baby?
Yes.
Okay, soon bedtime. All right, next one. I had this image of two brains, pink and blue, and it says, I must be intentional about showing her what I bring to the table. And then the other one says, I must be intentional about showing him what I bring to the table, with a hashtag, it takes two. People who are close to me know I use that word intentional very often. Intentional, like you have to just not assume that the other person knows, but you just, I need to show her, I need to show him that this is what I bring so that he doesn't have to ask. And even if I'm not showing him, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to tell her, this is what I bring. You can't get this from anywhere else. So trust me, if you are the best roti cooker, baker, maker, whatever, then you know he can't get no roti better than this. And you could tell your partner, like, yeah, you'll be hard pressed to find. And when you do that, it leaves very little doubt in that person. But sometimes the question is asked, what do you bring? And even when that's asked, if it just lead into my next truth, where it says, you're not selfish when you ask a potential partner, what's in this for me? You're just trying to make sure that there wasn't anything you missed while observing and looking for those unsolicited intentional cues, words, acts, actions that all preemptively answer the question, what's in this for me? In other words, if you have to ask, then more than likely the person was not intentional about showing you exactly what they bring. And that can be a bit of a red flag sometimes, or just the fact that they haven't been exposed to those levels of being present in an interpersonal relationship. Next one says here, gratitude is more than saying thank you. True gratitude shows in your attitude. And a lot of us may feel like saying thanks is showing gratitude, but saying thank you is courtesy. It's courteous to say thanks. When you have an attitude of gratitude, there are certain things you wouldn't do, there are certain things you wouldn't say. They're just a way you would not act. So saying thank you is courteous. When you have gratitude, it will show in your attitude towards that person, towards that particular situation or entity. Next one. Ooh, some of you who are listening or watching right now will understand why this is a big deal for me. Appreciate it when you're appreciated how you deserve to be appreciated. This is huge. When you do something for someone and they're like, oh my gosh, and then they jump and they hug you, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this. So a lot of the times when people would, when I perform an act of kindness and there's a particular response that resonates with me, I thank them. I don't do it for the response, but when I get it, I thank them because it encourages me to keep being, because I like to see happy people, I like to see people smile, I like to make them feel, appreciated and like they actually matter. And so when you get that response that makes you feel like, oh my gosh, you've really done something, or you get that emoji, or you get that reverse gratitude, the reverse gesture. Like when I was little, my mom never used, if somebody gave her food in a container, she's not sending it back to the sender empty. She's putting something in it. And that's the attitude that I'm talking about. All right, next one. Remember, coping and healing should work hand in hand. Coping without healing is recursive. Constructive coping while you actively heal speeds up the healing process. This is deep. So coping could be use of drugs. It could be exercise. It could be watching movies. It could be going for a walk. It could be it could be eating that make you feel good in the moment. But if you're not actively trying to heal while you cope, then you're going to continue trying to cope, thinking that you're healing, wondering why the healing has never come. My little one here is yawning. We're soon finished. We're soon done. I put up another one here. I says, sometimes I wish I had me in my life. I think that's coming from a place, the word that you keep hearing me talk about all night is understanding. And that is wishing that you had, for instance, when I was growing up, the friends that I had growing up had this innate level of understanding and acceptance for who I was. I never had to ask or fight for it. And as we grow older, we go to different regions or geographical locations, and you meet new people who don't have that level of innate understanding, and they have to grow to and spend time to get to know you. And so there will be those moments where I feel like, if I had a me in my life, then, that support would be a little bit more forthcoming. Understand? All right, next one. You guys should not be surprised at this. I said, resist the urge to constantly give people a piece, P-I-E-C-E and P-E-A-C-E, piece of your mind. Doing this too often will leave you with no peace or no mind, or worse yet, no peace and no mind. Give responsibly. Yes, I've had my fair share of people giving me a piece of their mind and end up losing their mind in the process. And what I'm saying is, you don't always have to have an opinion or spirited, opinionated response to everything. And I gotta say what I got to say. Blah, blah, blah. Nah, not everything warrants that. That's peace. You're giving peace. And you're not giving peace. You're taking peace from someone when you're being that person. So give responsibly. Ooh, this was deep. This one was really deep. In mathematics, pretty much every problem can be solved by knowing when and how to add, subtract, divide, or multiply. Life is similar. Pretty much every problem can be solved by knowing when and how to either open up and speak up, or shut up and listen. I couldn't have said this any better. Yeah, if you know when to speak up and know when to shut up and listen, then you've solved everything. That's, again, in math. If you know when to add, multiply, divide, or subtract, then there's no problem that you cannot solve. Next one. This is another image. It says, be able to say, because I'm in your life, life for you should be that much easier. And this should be able to said to you, because you're in my life, life for me is that much easier. Which again goes down to the whole intention and validation. So when you operate with intention, and when you are validated for that intention, it creates that circle of trust, circle of understanding, and growth. This little one here is tired. That was just about 5 more minutes and we're going to be done. She said she wanted to come. You going to come again? Soon bedtime. All right. Oh, I got some flack for this, and I don't think people understood why I said this. It says leverage sometimes looks like this: never showing that you want something badly enough. And this came about during the whole, beginning of silly season. And I'm saying, like, when you make it known that you really, really, really want this thing to somebody or an entity that cannot be fully trusted, who doesn't have your best interest at heart, they can use that to manipulate you. They can use that against you. They can use that to bring you down. And so when you know the situation where you actually have found yourself, sometimes leverage will be not showing that particular hand, understanding that's what you want, and sometimes you may end up getting exactly that which you desire to have for yourself because you understood the situation, the dynamic that you're dealing with. And the last one, have is not equal to of. One of my peeves sometimes is when people come and say, I would have done this. It's not of, it's have. It's not of, it's have. I would have done this, and I would have done this. And so many times we get carried away with what we write on social media. And some people will say, I'm just writing casually, until you see them write it in an essay, in a paper. Yeah, he wouldn't have done this, he wouldn't have done that. So that's it. It's nothing too complicated, but I just wanted to let people know that, yeah, of and have are not the same words. Anyway, that's it for an insight behind my truths. I'm going to put up a whole album of all of these truths, and I'm going to keep adding to them. They'll all look different. It's not the same. It's not the same font, the same image. I don't even put my name on these so that you guys can share them. I don't care about the credit of the author and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to make a book of these. So feel free to share them. I'm going to put them on my social, on Facebook tonight, and probably Instagram. I'm not an Instagrammer, but I will do that. And hopefully you guys can somehow use these to, cause people to think differently. They're awesome conversation starters. And just like I am, I like to think outside the box. All right. So that's it. No guests, no problem. This has been great. I feel like I've been connecting with you guys, even though no one has been commenting. Well, except for Spice. She says, such a darling. Good job, parents. Yes, thank you, Spice. That's my adopted big sister. So Adia is here. It sounds like she's going to have a very early night. And, before we go, as I always tell everyone to be kind and spread love, I'm going to let her tell everyone that they need to be kind always and to spread love before we go. And hopefully next week, the person I'm trying to bring here, next week, Thursday, is my birthday. And yes, I will be here. I'm not taking the night off. I think that it's a good day to give good stuff. Yeah, it's good to do good, even if it's on your birthday. All right, so we'll see you guys next week. She's not going to come next week, I can tell you. But before we go, sweetie, you want to say something to everybody? Go ahead.
Always spread love.
And be kind. Thank you guys for listening and being my guest in the studio. This was great. I did not shy away from coming to do this one alone. So next time I don't have a guest, I will find something else that I can bring to share with all of you that give you an insight into the madness of Enoite. All right, so I'm seeing all the emojis now coming. I made some people mad and cry. Oh, it's okay. So part of it. All right, see you guys next week. Bye.
Experience the value. Get the cable's value bundle today. Internet, Ultra TV, free HBO Max, and a free Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard for only $157 monthly. Feel the thrill of 74 channels of Ultra TV. Feel the rush of the cable's 35 megabyte Bolt Internet. Maximum streaming entertainment is free with HBO Max and the ultra convenience of the Platinum Loyalty MasterCard. Shop save, share, and don't forget, get a free internet upgrade when you pay your cable bills with Platinum Loyalty MasterCard. Not a cable customer? Sign up today and get more out of your internet, TV, shopping, and payment experience. The Cable's Value Bundle, Ultra TV, Internet, free HBO Max, and Platinum Loyalty MasterCard at $250 value for only $157 per month. Call the Cable 465-2588 and come experience the value.